Are we good?
Yep.
All right. I hereby call to order this Milburn CC School District 24 Board of Education special meeting. Madam Secretary, will you call the roll, please?
John Lorenzen,
Here.
Brendan Murphy,
Here.
Peter Petrini,
Here.
Jillian Vogt here, Don Ruggles, Fred Scotchum,
Here.
and Lisa Booster.
All right, let's rise for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
All right. I'm Secretary. Oh, no.
No public comment.
No public comments, all right. Action items. Need to approve the posting.
Yep, so we are doing an amended budget again this year. As you know, we guess as best we can what's gonna happen throughout the year. Back in July and August, when we're looking at finalizing the budget, and then school year happens, and then we adjust for items we didn't spend and some items we spent more than what we anticipated, and this is amended budget reflects that. So it is a balanced budget again. So it's a balanced budget then, it is a balanced budget now by about
$4,000.
$4,000. So it's a very tight budget, $4,000 on a $22 million budget is pretty much a zero. So that tells you where we are financially as a district. We're going to be looking at some belt tightening in future years as we move forward, because some of the revenue that have been available and some of the expenditures are going to be catching up with us in order to maintain our same programming. Next year, we should be okay. Next year, we're because of the property tax relief grant, we'll be able to access more money. It's for taxpayers, homeowners, like everybody at this table. It will go up more than it would have, but we have access to that again based on the property tax relief grant. Would you like to say, point out anything else, answer any questions?
If you just click on that link, just for the board's information, if we go down to the next page, the next few pages just show the differences across funds, and where the money is increasing and decreasing in revenues and expenditures. So that's more for your information. The very last two pages show, so pages 7 and 8. 7 shows the original budget that was submitted back in September. The deficit budget summary, which we submit to the state. The next page shows the updated numbers, which shows our $4,000 difference of where we are. If we need to go through.
Does the board have any questions on any of the other items? We're not approving this amended budget, but we will be approving it in May. April.
April,
Sorry,
yeah.
April.
But what we are asking for approval on is posting the amended
Right,
budget
right.
this week.
Move to approve posting of the budget amendment for fiscal year 25.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right. Need a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, let's go to the other sheet. I hereby call to order this committee of the whole meeting. I don't think we need to do we need to do another roll call? No? All right. Do we have any public comments?
We do not.
Okay. Is there any additional information or discussion items that you guys want to talk about? No? Okay. All right, then let's talk about these board policies.
Oh, these are captivating this week.
Most of these policies we approved just a year ago. And this is just refreshing some of the footnotes. I will point out that, the residency policy has a section in it that, would allow for the district to bring in outside students, non-residential students, and the board could approve it. The board has never approved, to my knowledge, and that's, at least in my tenure, an outside tuition and student. It would be extremely expensive to do that. But nonetheless, I do get requests for that once in a while, and we could remove that particular section. We do not have to put that in there. So that could be a removal if the board wants to, just for clarification, so that people don't think that they can tuition in, or that it's possible, but that's up to you. It's been in, it's been out over the years. We do have the option to tuition in students from another district, so another district can request to place a student here for special services, and we do an intergovernmental agreement with that, and we've done that quite a bit, actually. And that's a win for both school districts, because we may have spots open in a classroom where it would be helpful to have one or two more kids to help support that program. And other districts may have one student, and it's hard to develop a good, robust program with just one student of a particular need. So we do that.
Other than that, this is just like the previous ones. It's mostly just deleting footnotes on these policies, so there's no change really.
Nope. And there's a couple where it says high school, if you're a high school, you can ignore that. We'll take that out for the final posting.
What do you think about the residency requirement? Do we change it? Do we keep it?
We had a good discussion on it a couple years back, because someone else had asked. And so it sounds nice, because they're paying their tuition. Unfortunately, if you open it up, then what happens when somebody comes in, or the child had needs services that we didn't know about beforehand, and then it becomes very expensive for us. So we don't really want to open ourselves up to that kind of surprise.
Yep, or discrimination.
Or just
Should we then just simply remove it?
probably a smart idea.
Is that everyone okay with
I'm on board with that.
that? Okay. I would fix that.
Okay.
The next time. All right, any other things?
The only thing about the residency that I assume there's like provisions in, school handbook or whatever. Parent gets divorced in the middle of the school year, so now they have split time, or, maybe, God forbid, a parent dies, so they don't have to go with grandma, grandpa, they're allowed to finish out the school year here, so they don't have things like that, or
Yep.
we don't need to write policy on that,
Nope.
so.
Well, that's in there, but it's state law. So if a student starts the school year, they want a place, they're allowed to finish it in that same school district to ease some of that. We don't want kids bouncing from school to school in that transition time. However, in cases like divorce or death in the family, they would still need to provide transportation back into the district. So if they move to Libertyville with grandma, we would send a bus down to pick them up. They would have to drive them back up here, which happens quite a bit. People move, especially this time of the year, they might move to a different location or get a job somewhere else, not too far away. They'll drive their kids, and we encourage that. It's good. Also good point.
Does the residence policy need anything about, how we do like a research or a
The
survey
background
to make
checks.
sure, yeah, to make sure that you're in our district? Does that need to be written in the policy somewhere? Cause I know we did that this year just to verify that we had the number of students. I don't
Right.
know. I don't know if
That
that needs to be embedded. I just didn't know if there was somewhere for parents to know that, hey, we will verify your address.
We put that in our registration
Okay.
paperwork, so it says on the bottom of that, or somewhere on the registration paperwork, so they're clear
It does, yeah, yeah.
that they're gonna be checked. That's an administrative procedure more so than a policy,
That's what I figured, okay.
because the policy is if you have to live in the district, which is also a state law.
Okay.
So it's where you lay your head at night. You cannot, our policy says you cannot use the district, an address in the district, so like grandma's address. If grandma lives in a district and I live in Libertyville, I can't send
Right.
my child up here and say they live with grandma or use that address.
Okay.
Solely for the purposes of school to attend our district. That's where it gets tricky and it's hard to prove, but that's where national investigations comes in. And we can build evidence to say, but you are the custodial parent. And you live in Libertyville and you don't have any other addresses. So does grandma have custody? And if so, give us some paperwork for that. And that's where there's all kinds of nuance in that, trying to treat people with dignity through that sometimes too is a challenge. Hey, John.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't.
Oh, you're missing out,
Believe it.
man.
I think you read through them.
We just read them word by word.
Been awfully quick.
Any other questions? No? All right. Apple lease for MES.
So it's time for us to renew our Apple iPads for the kids. We have 750 kids in this building and we need to flip over new iPads. They've been here for 4 years. We could go another year with them. However, they still hold value. So we can sell them back to a company, a resale company, and get significant money for them. I don't know how much at this point, but it's a pretty good chunk. And it depends on the grade amount, and they give us cash for them. It's wonderful. And we won't have the Apple Care for them next year, which is our kind of like a warranty and service agreement with Apple. So it's a good time to shift them over to refresh them. Also, Apple just from the time that I first talked about it till to late last week, they no longer do one version of the iPad, and they don't make it anymore, and we can't even get it. And they switched it to a 128 gig. They had a 64 gig and a 256 gig. Now they have a 128 and a 256, which is wonderful because the 64 was a little bit light, and for elementary, 256 is not necessary. We wanted a 128, they just didn't make them. Now they make a 128 and it's $80,000 cheaper. So, right, waiting a week helped us out. And it's 0% interest right now, so they're incentivizing it. It just makes sense to do the refresh. And we're planning on doing a 3-year this time lease, so it'll be $131,000 per year for 3 years. Again, we will sell back our current stock, what we aren't going to keep, and we get cash for that, offset that first year lease payment, but that's where we're at.
You probably looked into this, I'm assuming you did, but do we get a better if we donate them and get a tag? But I guess we don't do it.
Definitely not. Because we're not we don't pay taxes.
Yeah.
But even if we pay taxes, the cash value is pretty good. Yeah. I expect we'll get over $100 per iPad. For the better one, the ones that are in A, B grade.
Yeah, when we broke ours, I paid 200. So,
Because the replacement is 489. But we're also refreshing a few of the administrators' laptops that are due, that are 7 or 8 years old, and a couple other administrators' iPads as well.
Are there going to be
Or not
any,
iPads.
any apps that help, deal with that mess back there?
Yeah, for real.
The
Maybe
what?
organizational.
My
Organizational.
Desktop,
You can possibly use.
he's talking about your desktop.
Sure. It's, I could select and delete and be gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might not be smart.
Probably 50% of it would be okay. It's all on one page. That's been pretty good. It's not tripled up anymore, so
Really?
it's progress. Just needs to be filed. The app is called Google Drive and just
Mhm.
needs to be filed into file.
File it.
Yep. Okay. So that, the Apple lease will be on for approval at the next meeting. If you have any questions, let me know.
Okay.
We have, we're gonna keep some of these are eights, model eights, or generation 8, whatever you wanna call them. We're gonna keep some of them because our parapros have model generation 6s, I think. So the way it goes is the worst ones go out and we'll keep handing them down. And also, we're using more and more devices as communication tools for kids. So some kids have 2 iPads. One is just set up because they have to have their app live for communication. And it's hard to, if they have one device, it's hard for them to flip back and forth between their communication tool. It's either a talking tool where they can click on a picture and it'll talk and say hi, or I need to go to the bathroom, or whatever it is. Those kids, more and more kids, because the apps are becoming so much better, we're finding good use for those. And also some of our English as a second language students as well. So it's good, but we're also needing more devices. So we're gonna keep more of them than we have in the past just for that reason. But we'll still sell most of the inventory back to a salvage company, not salvage, resale. So you can buy them next week for $250.
Any questions? Budget amendment? Just kind of been over that already.
Yep.
Superintendent eval.
So I finished my superintendent eval. Not all the data is final because we don't get our end of the year scores until the end of May, early June. But everything else is finished, so if this board wants to do that and not hand that off to the next board, great. If you want to hand it off to the next board, I'm fine. But this group set up the goals and have been monitoring that this year might make a little bit of sense to finish at least that portion of it. So it's open and pushed out to you if you have any questions. Or did you guys get the email?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sweet. It worked. Awesome. So go for it if you want to, and then you can talk about it next week.
From my experience, that we should do the evaluation and then the next group can set up their next.
Yeah.
Their, what they want. to do.
Staffing updates. No major shifts of any staffing at this point, other than we had Mr. Jazzo retiring at the middle school for PE after many years. And so Mr. Linden is applied for that position and he's gonna take over PE. So Mr. Linden is going from 6th grade math into PE. And now we have a math opening. for Mr. Linden, so that's advertised. We have a math opening in 8th grade for Mr. Robinson because he is retiring this year, so we have 2 math openings. We had a science opening in middle school. Miss Miller, Erica Miller, is resigning at the end of this year, and she's going into a different career path, and she 7th grade science, so we had a 7th grade science opening that is filled by our health teacher, Miss Steiner, moving to 7th grade science because she wants to get back into that classroom, so that's great. So that leaves us with a health opening, so when all's said and done, we have a health and 2 math positions to fill. So if you know of anybody,
Didn't we just lose an 8th grade math teacher?
Mr. Robinson,
No,
Miss McGill,
yeah,
she retired last year.
Yeah.
okay, so this is just natural retirement.
Just retirements and shifting.
I know Lyndon's instrumental in all that 6th grade stuff. This won't impact into that, will it? Like the different events and trips and things. Are you saying
Probably
hopefully
won't do
nice?
Timberlake,
He'll do Timberlake,
will it?
yes.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yep, so it won't impact Timberlake, won't impact that bidder,
Did he commit to that?
yes. Right?
Yeah,
Mr.
they didn't
Ferguson?
write.
I don't have it in
It'd be
writing,
hard to keep him away from it.
That's good.
yeah,
Okay, good.
he really loves it.
Yeah, he's a huge part of
Yeah.
that.
Actually, it might help from the PE position to
Mhm.
support that even more, I don't know. So that's where our staffing's at today. We also have been at the elementary school, we're advertising for a reading, or I mean, instructional coach. Could say reading coach, instructional. coach. And that's it. Yep. We have 2 staff members that'll be at the next board meeting, moving from full-time to job share.
How are we doing with subs? Always needed.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I felt like we were pretty good for most of the year, and then lately it's been tough. Not exactly sure, we have a lot of meetings to cover, so now it's 504 meetings and IP meetings at the end of the year. So you've got that, you've got staff development sometimes. You know, absences, and just in general, people are sick and or they have obligations they have to attend to. And then our subs aren't as available either sometimes. And we have a couple of maternity leaves, which usually takes our best subs out of the pool, and puts them in the classroom every day. So that it makes it tougher to cover. We continue to look for subs and hire regularly. I know seems like every couple of weeks we're interviewing a new substitute teacher. We could always use more.
What about the buses? Would that be different?
Buses, bus drivers. I think we're okay.
We're okay for now.
That's good.
Yeah, I think for staffing overall, we've been in pretty good shape. Just getting through these next 2 months, I think is always gonna be more of a challenge, but we're okay.
Yeah.
Just some days are, like today was a little bit of a scramble in the morning, fill those spots.
Future agenda items seem to be basically
What we just talked
what we
about.
just talked about.
That's it.
So,
We just have to approve them or act on them.
that's superintendent report. Unless I'm something missing something.
Nope. Superintendent report is we had a showcase last week at elementary school here with lots and lots of kids and families. It was a great turnout, a lot of fun. Lots of people interacting, which was wonderful. We've had Parent University last Monday night, so a week ago. We had about 15 people show up for that. It was about neurodiversity and they did a great job. Marin Shamet and Carrie Rensner did a great job of presenting neurodiversity. They work primarily with our primary students, early childhood and primary students. They're speech pathologists and are really passionate about the subject, and that came through, and a lot of interest from parents, so that was very interesting. So if you want to learn about neurodiversity, which I'm learning about those terms and of course what that means, what that is and what that is not. I think they're gonna do another one next year. So it'll be great. There's also a lot of information on the web that you can look up, of course, and also some podcasts that are interesting to listen to. So if you're interested in learning more about it, certainly let me know. Let's see, what else we have going on? We had board orientation.
Board orientation, this is a
Potential board members.
potential board
So
members here.
appreciate that.
Excited
Immensely.
bunch.
The elections are in April, early April, April 1st, right? First day in April, and then we'll have 2 board meetings in April. We'll have the committee of the whole meeting, and then the second meeting will retire the current board and seat the new board, and then start another 2 years. So we're in that cycle and process now. At our first meeting in June, instead of doing a cow meeting, I would propose that we do a starting right workshop that we did the last time we reseated a new board after the board came in. So we don't have to do another night, another separate night, just do it in place of the cow, the whole meeting. Laura Martinez can do it, and she's open that day, so I've scheduled her, so that's the plan for that. We start a little bit earlier, we start at 6 and go till 9 and do the starting right board training. It's always a good way to kick off a new. That's about all I can think of at the moment. Oh, Wednesday night is the Lake County Division meeting, so I'll be going to that. Is anybody else going to that? Fred, Brennan? Okay. I'll see you there.
Not on here, but I'm gonna ask out of my curiosity. I'll say Ben's name and he'll go like this with it.
Yeah.
I'm here. I know that almost everybody I know in December got some sort of flu or respiratory virus. How are we on attendance? Are we getting murdered on that?
Well,
Or do you guys don't track it every couple months?
we track it. Yeah, we got attendance in every week.
Are we like way above where we were last year?
We're doing a little better.
We are.
In fact, this year we.
School data or metrics?
New metrics. We've been, pulling everything from Power School, putting on spreadsheets, looking at. Now this new program collects all the information and gives us some like, all right, here's the number of students that are below the 10% threshold. Here are the ones that are between 10 and 15. So then we can really then mark those students below, and it's been very accurate. So it's made our meetings very efficient. But when you start looking at, I put in the wholesale, put in the newsletter. And I'm always speaking for elementary.
I know, I put you on the spot here.
Put a graph in there. Where we go. Well, kind of graph. So as of the 21st of February, we had about 65% of our students that are considered good attendance, which is 0 to 5%. About 19% that were between 5 and 10%. 14% that were between 10 and 20%, and then 2% that was over 20%. So we look back at last year, it was a little better, but one of the things we noted is last year's data was reflective of where we were at the end of the school year. This is where we're at right now. So we still got 2.5 months to go. But hopefully as we get through the 1, 2 months, hopefully this is gonna get a little bit better, because definitely it's been pretty widespread the last few months when it comes to students getting sick.
So what was the number that really hurts it? Where you're chronically absent, and starts to hurt our,
10%. 10%.
seven.
So they look at the number of students that miss 10% by the end of the school year, which is considered 17 days.
do we have a projection of that?
How many candidates?
Well, right now, I mean, last year, I don't know what I know we had 123 students that were chronically absent at the end of the school year. Right now, we're at 110 that are at the 10% or above threshold. It's still 2.5 months to go. But that's where we're at right now. So it's, that those numbers can get smaller as each day goes on.
A big part of it is improving attendance overall. But we understand that there's gonna be illnesses, there's gonna be travel. It's just to like highlight some of that to families when they're accruing a higher number, getting closer to that 10% for that 17 days by the end of the year. And it's also there to like reach out and see if that kid is expressing difficulty with coming to school, like school avoidance or bullying issues or anything, like to try and expose some of those things along the way.
So once that comes out, we can start meeting with parents.
I feel I'm getting less notifications from nurses. Did we change our policy on it?
I got a
we went through
lot
a spell where we had like, oh, maybe because I'm not getting elementary, I'm not getting elementary.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's
We
tons
were
of.
getting them every day. This kid had a stroke, this kid had a-
Yeah, in fact, I got an email from the day. 4 different things going on.
So we're still doing it, just middle school's been pretty slow. Must be very difficult. All right, sir,
That's fine. Harley?
I'm just working on the amended budget and the budget for next year. That will be coming over the summer.
Anyone want to give a board report? What have you guys been up to?
I've been pretty busy.
Oh, go for it, man. We got time.
All right, so, I attended the North Cook IASB division meeting.
Yeah.
Their keynote was on AIs in schools. One of the big components talking about Illinois does not have a statewide directive on AI use. I think that's 11 states that have them right now. We did talk about it in the handbook meeting. It's expected you do your own work, but with teacher permission, you're allowed to use it. That's what we had. And I think that was the overall feeling with a lot of people there, that we don't necessarily want to see a statewide regulation on it, kind of like just talking with the cell phone law, ban in school possibly, but leave it up to the individual districts to be able to enact their own, and in the individual classroom, because sometimes it is appropriate. AI is here, it's not going away. If it comes down to a kid or a young adult getting their job, this one was allowed to use AI in school, so they know how to utilize it in a positive way, versus this person doesn't have any training. Everything else being equal, the employer's gonna hire the one who knows how to use the newest tools available to them. By random happenstance, I sat next to Glenn Erickson, who was the engineer of record building the middle school. So it was just nice meeting a piece of history and, oh, I built that school, or, so that was fun.
I have a question.
Yes.
And for Jake, what you were talking about. Do we have any AI specific classes? Is that something that anyone's thought of, is how to use it, because depending on what they do, the industry standard might be, you're gonna have to use AI.
Yeah, we've actually done a school-wide lesson and use of AI using Magic Student. It's a school safe AI service that we have a subscription for, and the kids actually practice writing like a goal for themselves. It was a goal writing lesson where they were actually able to put in components of what they want a good goal to look like. And then AI was used to generate the goal from start to finish for them. So it was a healthy way of using AI, practical. It wasn't to, you know, turn it in for an assignment as if it was your own work. So it was, you know, a good exposure to that.
I mean, I can see them using it for, you know, computers or art class or wherever. I mean, that's something we need to.
We just don't want them to use it for English papers.
Right, right.
Yeah.
You know, I understand that,
Right.
but you know, if they're doing a computer design program, they, you know, hook onto a microphone on their ear and just tell them I want this kind of scene and, you know, there you go.
I don't think it's bad for them to use it if they cite that they're using it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just use it and improve yourself, just don't claim it as your own work and. You know, you do that in English classes anyway, when you're writing down quotes and then just putting the footnotes down, it's almost the same thing as long as you don't try to.
It's
Claim
pretty
it as your
obvious
own.
when they pass it off as.
Yeah.
Have you
If
seen
know your
that?
kid, just-
Yeah, I've seen that, like before I left public ed, I mean, it was
you know
all
the
over and you're like,
difference,
this, you don't write like this, this is. It's pretty obvious, it's a really good tool though, I mean, as
I
far as
think so.
research and all those things, yeah.
A point that they mentioned at the meeting that Jake kind of talked, that he, my daughter talked about, he said we have a subscription to Magic
Yeah, that's
School
nice.
or Student. If we use the free versions, then any data they put in becomes part of they're gonna use it to train their model versus if we get a subscription to something, then they don't use our students' data to train future models. So that's just a privacy and security concern that sometimes it's worth paying the little extra money to give them an approved tool instead of just going on ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever free one. they want to use. I'm very informative, good times, Northbrook. I did the showcase as well, yeah, it was fun, lots to do, lots going around, like my kid ditched me. And Ben found it for me, so thank you again on that assist. CEDOL, we renewed the 2 interim superintendents. And looking at hiring a agency to help find the next CEDOL 1 superintendent for the long term. They have a couple events going on, fundraisers this Saturday at Lehman Mansion. It's trivia night, $35 a person. If anybody likes to do trivia, head out to Lehman Mansion. And then their big like Heart of Gold, $175 down in Kildeer is coming up in April. Just CEDOLfoundation.org if you want to see that. I also attended the Parent U on Neurodiversity. One big takeaway that I really like from that is, I forget their names and I apologize. The presenter said when they were in school learning about neurodiversity, it was presented as a medical issue that needed a treatment instead of just that's how the person is. That, yeah, so very, very informative, very useful, and yeah, that's all I got. That's all I got.
How'd the resale go?
I haven't heard numbers yet. It was, there was tons of stuff in there Friday when they were set up and ready to go. They had a later starter time, 5 o'clock when they started. I mean, they typically are busy from right away when they open. Things.
Someone told me they're probably wrong. This isn't our last one, is it?
I haven't. Even the last one for this year.
Or maybe they said that maybe that's the thing. This is the last one.
It's always hard. Some people that have run it had like co-chaired it for Epic. You know, they get burnt out
Yeah.
and their kids, you know, are no longer in school anymore. And so we have to, you know, get some new blood in there to take the reins. So that could be something that you heard is that the person that has done it isn't interested in doing it again.
I think that is
find
correct.
somebody else because a lot of work and get to be committed to it. Yeah, I'm sure it always.
The good news is if someone is interested, they have a software program that tracks all of the expenditures and all the tags now.
That's pretty
Makes it a lot easier than it used to be. And she told me 20, they had 20, if everything sold in the whole place, it'd be $20,000. They
Right.
already knew how much they could make.
Oh, that's pretty.
They obviously aren't gonna sell every item, but
Big part of it is, you know, certainly like how much money does Epic make from it, but another big part of it is service that it provides to people that, you know, are looking for certain items to use for kids. They don't want to pay full price for it. It's a good way of passing things down, playing it again, playing this.
I did The Witch's Princess. Ooh, it was fun. I saw it Saturday night. We're at middle school. And then I participated by helping the kids with the microphones when they performed on Monday morning. So it was a lot of fun and the kids had a blast, and I could tell the kids watching it had a blast. I could tell they had a good time. It was a good play, so the kids in that, or if not, and they get to see it next year, it won't be the same thing, but next year, enjoy. It's fun.
It was good.
It was
It was
good.
very good.
It was very good.
Ellie did a great job.
Thank you. All right, we have no closed session.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Let's go.